We're at PDAC2015 in Toronto, Canada, and with me is Ian Lambert, who's the Chief Operating Officer of Grizzly Discoveries. Welcome.
Welcome, Tim. Thanks very much for having me.
Absolutely, our pleasure. Now, last time we spoke, which was probably 2 years ago, you had quite a number of projects, and you've updated the strategy on that?
Yes, we have. Our land positions really continue to be held by the company for the long haul. We have projects in Alberta and Saskatchewan, Alberta and British Columbia in Western Canada. We're right along the Alberta-Saskatchewan border with potash claims. We have a large land position in the northern Alberta area in a diamondiferous region where we have kimberlite pipes. And our biggest asset is a large land position in southeastern British Columbia, which is precious metals claims and copper.
So you've got potash, essentially a fertilizer.
Yep.
You've got diamonds.
Yes.
And you've got base metals.
That's correct. So we're there for all different types of investment opportunities. We're there for whatever the market is really looking for at this point in time. We believe a lot in the long-term potential for potash. It's going to be in demand going forward, and it's ever-increasing demand as the world population demographics change, and you need more and more potash to produce more and more food. So I don't think that that's going to lose its value at all in the future. The diamonds, sometimes they're on, sometimes they're off. And we have to be prepared to take advantage of the market conditions when people are interested in exploring for diamonds, and we have excellent properties for that. Over time, and even though we've been through some tough times recently, you know, the markets for precious metals, for copper, are continuing to be searched for all over the globe, and right here in Canada we have high quality projects that we can develop going forward.
And so, being quite diversified, you're very open to any change in the sentiment of the market, aren't you?
Right, and while we've been waiting for this thing to come around again, we've really reevaluated our strategies in terms of where we want to take this company. And we have excellent properties, as I mentioned, and I'll talk a bit more about those later. But I think that the approach that we want to take right now is, because it's highly dilutive to bring in new money to do our own exploration, we're looking at joint ventures. In the potash area, we're talking to overseas investors that are looking for potash assets. In the area of our precious metals, we're looking for the larger companies that need further resources in certain regions. And we hope that some of these deals will be consummated in the not too distant future. And that way we don't dilute our shareholders' positions. Okay, so
let's just talk about the potash a bit more deeply for a second.
Right, well, if we look on this chart here, we have a significant potash position. Our potash lands are in the order of magnitude right now of about 435,000 acres. We've kept the nucleus of the important potash lands that we feel are going to be the area that will be produced. We had some peripheral lands in some areas down south that were interesting to hold, but when push comes to shove, when the costs of maintaining them were beyond our desire to spend that kind of money, we let some of that stuff go. Interestingly enough, nobody's reclaimed it, so we probably could get it back if we wanted. But we've kept the core area in the northern block near Lloydminster. This is a region where historic potash drilling has produced a 22-meter zone of potash with grades up to 28-29% KCl. So we feel that the underpinnings are there for a significant potash deposit. Could be hundreds of millions of tons, and we own the footprint over all of that.
Wow. And so you're really effectively reducing the capital cost, operating costs of the company by having the control of the major asset, but able to expand. This is very interesting. Now let's talk a second about the diamonds.
The diamonds are an area that we've been involved in for quite some number of years, probably over 10 years. The company was actually formed as Grizzly Diamonds and changed its name a few years back when we got into areas other than just diamonds. We've held some of the core positions all these years. More recently, we've acquired some other lands that have been dropped by some of the majors that have held property positions in the Buffalo Hills area in northern Alberta. And in the work that we've done to this point in time, our exploration has developed 7 pipes, of which 3 have been tested properly and are diamondiferous, and two of them are planned for further drilling, and a couple of them need to be bulk sampled.
Now, let's talk base metals.
Base metals. In southeastern British Columbia, this is the American border, and we have a land position called the Greenwood property that extends from Osoyoos all the way to Grand Forks, some 70 kilometers. There's 235,000 acres of claims that we own there, and they stretch from the U.S. border to almost 25 kilometers north of the border.
My goodness, that's a fair bit of ground.
It's a very large position. It took a long time to accumulate that. The people that worked with us to put it together took 10 years to assemble that land position. It's a historic mining district. There's been a whole bunch of mining done, small and or larger scale, over the years since back to the 1800s. The area is a prolific production area. There's an operating mine down south of us across the border, and we have developed, that's the Buckhorn mine.
With 1.2 million ounces of
1.2 million
gold.
ounces. They're nearing the end of their useful life, but there is probably other mineralization in the area that will end up getting developed. We've worked...
This looks like a very active area.
Yes, we've worked on a number of areas over the past several years, and we've drilled, spending over $6 million drilling off a number of areas, and we found 7 specific areas that are worthy of further exploration work. None of them have resulted in a resource at this point in time, because we really do need to do more drilling in each of those areas to get the resource developed figure. But these 7 areas all represent precious metals based opportunities, except this area over here, which is probably prolific copper. It seems to be a copper porphyry deposit. We've had intercepts of over 300 meters of copper mineralization, where the combined copper plus other metals is giving you a copper equivalent that's in the area that is close to being capable to be produced.
Okay, so that's
It needs more work, though.
for investors looking a very diversified portfolio. We've got fertilizer and the potash, we've got diamonds, we've got gold, we've got a very prospective. Now, if investors want to have a closer look at this, they can go to grizzlydiscoveries.com.
Yes, that's correct. Our website has a lot of information on all the technical reports on all of these properties.
And for the markets, it's GZD on the Toronto Venture.
Toronto Venture, right.
Ian, it's been wonderful talking to you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.